The spaceport bar was loud, dirty, and full of aliens. The air smelled like burnt oil and something sour, probably the drink in Jin's hand. He didn't know what it was, but it was strong. That was good enough. Jin was a human, and humans were still new in the galaxy. Most aliens saw them as weak, soft creatures. Jin didn't care. He had been a soldier once. Now he just wanted to drink in peace. Across the room, a group of Vrexol warriors laughed loudly. They were big, taller than Jin, with thick gray skin and sharp teeth. They liked to remind everyone how strong they were. Near their table, a small human woman named Mira worked on a broken machine. She was an engineer, fixing things for credits. One of the Vrexol bumped into her on purpose, making her drop her tools. "Clumsy human," the alien sneered. Mira picked up her tools, her face red. "You did that on purpose," she said quietly. The Vrexol laughed. "Maybe I did. What will you do about it?" Jin watched. He didn't like trouble, but he hated bullies more. The Vrexol shoved Mira again, harder this time. She fell back, hitting the floor. The aliens laughed louder. Jin put down his drink. He walked over, his boots heavy on the metal floor. The Vrexol didn't even notice him until Jin was right in front of them. "Apologize," Jin said. The biggest Vrexol turned, looking down at him. "Or what?" Jin moved fast. Before the alien could react, Jin grabbed him by the throat. The Vrexol's eyes went wide. No one had ever done that before. Jin used his whole body, slamming the alien onto the table. Cups and bottles crashed to the floor. The bar went silent. The other Vrexol stood up, growling. Jin didn't let go. He squeezed just enough to make his point. "Apologize," he said again. The alien under his hand choked, his face turning darker. He clawed at Jin's arm, but Jin held firm. Finally, the Vrexol gasped. I'm sorry." Jin let go. The alien coughed, rubbing his throat. The other Vrexol didn't attack. They just stared, shocked. No one choked a Vrexol. It wasn't done. Jin helped Mira up. "You okay?" She nodded, eyes wide. "You just choked a Vrexol." "Yeah," Jin said. "I guess I did." The bar was still quiet. Every alien was watching. Jin didn't care. He walked back to his drink. But things weren't over. A few days later, a message arrived for Jin. It was from the Galactic Concord the rulers of the known galaxy. They wanted to see him, not to punish him, to invite him to a peace summit because choking a Vrexol warrior wasn't just a bar fight. It was a message, and the galaxy was listening. Jin stared at the glowing screen in front of him. The message was written in big bold letters. Human known as Jin. You are summoned to the Galactic Concord Peace Summit on Tyronus 5. He rubbed his eyes. This has to be a joke. Mira, the engineer from the bar, peeked over his shoulder. That's a real Concord seal, she said. They don't joke. Jin frowned. I choked an alien. Why would they invite me to a peace summit? Mira shrugged. Maybe they liked it. Jin didn't know much about alien politics, but he knew one thing. Humans were still the new species in the galaxy. Most aliens saw them as weak, unimportant. Being invited to a big meeting like this didn't make sense. A small robot rolled into the room. It was round, with a blinking blue light on top. Message includes a personal note from Vrexol warlord Korthak. It said in a cheerful voice. The screen changed. A huge Vrexol face appeared. His gray skin was scared, and his yellow eyes burned with intensity. Human, the warlord growled. You showed strength. You choked one of my warriors, and he lived. That means you have honor. The Concord does not understand strength like ours. Come to the summit. Show them what humans are. The screen went black. Jin sat back. Okay, that was weird. Mira's eyes were wide. Do you know who that was? Korthak is one of the most powerful warlords in the galaxy. If he's asking for you. Yeah, Jin interrupted. But why me? I'm not a diplomat. I'm just a guy who got into a bar fight. Mira thought for a moment. Maybe that's the point. The Concord always talks about peace, but the Vrixel respect strength. If they see a human who isn't afraid of them, maybe they'll take humans seriously. Jin sighed. So I'm going to be some kind of human example. Basically, Jin didn't like it. But he also didn't like the idea of aliens thinking humans were weak. Fine, he said. I'll go. Mira grinned. Great, because I'm coming with you. Jin raised an eyebrow. Why? First, you need a translator. Second, I speak some Vrixel. And third, she leaned in. I've always wanted to see a Concord summit. Jin shook his head, but didn't argue. He had a feeling he'd need her help. 2 days later, they boarded a sleek Concord shuttle. The inside was clean and bright, nothing like the rusty ships Jin was used to. A tall, slender alien with smooth silver skin greeted them. Welcome, it said in a calm voice. I am Envoy Tilera. I will take you to Tyrannus 5. Jin nodded. Mira, however, looked excited. You're a Luminar. I've read about your species. Your brains process information faster than. Tilera held up a hand. Yes, please sit. Jin smirked. Mira blushed and sat down. As the ship took off, Jin looked out the window. Space stretched out, endless and dark. He still didn't understand why he was going to this summit. But if it meant humans wouldn't be pushed around anymore, maybe it was worth it. Mira nudged him. You nervous? Jin shrugged. Nah. Worst case, I choke another alien. Mira laughed. Please don't. The ship flew on, heading toward the unknown. The shuttle landed on Tyrannus 5 with a soft hum. The doors opened, and Jin stepped out, then immediately froze. The place was huge. Towering buildings made of shining metal stretched into the sky. Strange flying vehicles zipped between them. And everywhere Jin looked, there were aliens. Big aliens, small aliens, aliens with too many eyes or too many arms. Mira gasped. This is amazing. Jin just grunted. He felt small. Envoy Tilera led them forward. The summit begins in 1 hour. You will meet the other delegates first. They walked through a wide hallway with tall ceilings. Jin noticed other aliens staring at him. Some whispered. One even pointed. Are they talking about me? Jin asked. Mira nodded. Word got around about the choking thing. Jin sighed. They entered a large room filled with aliens standing in groups. At the far end, a massive Vrixel stood with his arms crossed. It was Warlord Korthak. When Korthak saw Jin, he let out a deep laugh. The human comes. Every alien in the room turned to look. Korthak walked toward Jin. He was even bigger up close. His shoulders were as wide as a door. Jin had to tilt his head back to look at him. You are smaller than I thought, Korthak said. Jin didn't back down. You're bigger than I thought. But size isn't everything. The room went quiet. Then Korthak laughed so loud the walls shook. I like this human. A slender blue alien with 4 arms stepped forward. This is highly irregular. Humans are not full members of the Concord. Why is he here? Korthak glared. Because he has more courage than your whole species, Zenthari. The blue alien's skin darkened. We shall see. Mira tugged Jin's sleeve. That's a Zenthari collective delegate. They don't like humans. Jin nodded. Noted. Tilera motioned for quiet. The summit will begin shortly. Please take your seats. The meeting room was circular, with a giant round table in the middle. Jin saw chairs of different sizes, some tiny, some huge. He found one that fit him and sat down. Mira stood behind him, whispering translations when needed. A tall, glowing being at the center spoke first. We gather to discuss border disputes between the Vrexel Dominion and the Zentheri Collective. The blue Zentheri delegate stood. The Vrexel continue to attack our ships. They must be stopped. Korthak slammed a fist on the table. Your ships enter our space. We destroy them, as is our right. The argument went back and forth. Jin just watched. Then, unexpectedly, Korthak pointed at Jin. The human understands. He fights when challenged. All eyes turned to Jin again. The Zentheri sneered. What could a primitive human possibly contribute? Jin felt his face grow hot. He stood up. I may not know much about your politics, he said slowly. But where I come from, if someone keeps pushing you, you push back. Harder. Korthak grinned. Exactly. The Zentheri hissed. Violence is not the answer. Jin shrugged. Sometimes it is. The room erupted into noise, some aliens cheering, others shouting. The glowing being raised its hands for silence. Enough. Perhaps a demonstration is needed. It looked at Jin. Would you be willing to prove human strength? Jin blinked. What kind of demonstration? Korthak stood. A duel. Human against Vrexel. No weapons, only strength and skill. Mira grabbed Jin's arm. You don't have to do this. Jin looked around. Every alien was watching, waiting. If he said no, humans would look weak. If he said yes, he cracked his knuckles. I'm in. The room buzzed with excitement. The summit would continue after the fight. The arena was a wide, circular space with high walls. Hundreds of aliens filled the seats above, watching. Jin stood in the center, rolling his shoulders. Across from him stood a massive Vrexel warrior, not Korthak, but one nearly as big. Mira stood at the edge, looking nervous. Remember, she called out, Vrexel have thick skin but weak spots at the joints. Jin gave her a thumbs up. The Vrexel warrior snarled. A horn sounded. The fight began. The Vrexel charged first, swinging a huge fist. Jin ducked just in time. The air whooshed over his head as the massive hand flew past. Jin countered with a punch to the alien side, but it felt like hitting a wall. The Vrexel barely flinched. Okay, Jin muttered. That didn't work. The crowd roared as the Vrexel grabbed Jin by the arm and lifted him off the ground. Jin twisted, kicking at the alien's wrist. The Vrexel growled but didn't let go. Then, wham! Jin was thrown across the arena. He hit the ground hard, rolling to soften the impact. His ribs ached, but nothing was broken. The Vrexel stomped toward him, confident. Jin scrambled up, breathing fast. He needed a new plan. Think. Watch. Find the weakness. As the Vrexel swung again, Jin noticed something. The alien's movements were powerful but slow. Jin dodged left, then right, staying just out of reach. The Vrexel growled in frustration. Then Jin saw it, a small gap in the armor-like skin at the elbow. The next time the Vrexel swung, Jin didn't dodge. Instead, he stepped into the attack, grabbed the alien's arm, and dug his fingers into the soft spot at the joint. The Vrexel roared not in anger, but in pain. His arm jerked back. Jin didn't let go. He pushed harder, twisting the limb in a way that made the massive alien stumble. The crowd gasped. The Vrexel tried to shake Jin off, but Jin held on, using his whole body to keep the pressure on the weak spot. Sweat dripped down his face, but he gritted his teeth and held tight. Finally, with a grunt, the Vrexel did something no one expected. He yielded. The alien dropped to one knee, his free hand raised. Enough, he growled. The arena went silent. Jin let go, stepping back. His arms trembled from the effort, but he stood straight. The Vrexel warrior stood slowly, rubbing his elbow. Then, to Jin's surprise, He gave a short bow. You fight with honor, human. Jin nodded. You too. The crowd exploded into noise. Cheers, shouts, even some angry hisses from the Zenthari section. Korthak leaped down from his seat, landing with a heavy thud. He clapped Jin on the back so hard Jin almost fell over. Ha, I knew it. Humans are stronger than they look. The glowing Concord leader floated into the arena. This demonstration has been enlightening. The summit will continue with this new understanding. As Jin walked back to Mira, she stared at him like he'd grown a second head. You *1* against a *Vrexel*. Jin wiped sweat from his forehead. Yeah, guess I did. Mira shook her head. No human has ever done that before. Do you realize what this means? Jin looked around at the staring aliens, some impressed, some angry, all now watching him carefully. Yeah, he said, it means they won't underestimate us anymore. After the fight, Jin and Mira were given rooms in the Concord Summit building. The place was fancy, clean walls, soft beds, even strange alien fruits on the table. But Jin couldn't relax. Something felt wrong. Mira sat at a small desk, tapping on a floating screen. I've been looking through the summit records, she said. Something weird is happening. Jin raised an eyebrow. Weirder than me fighting the giant alien. Mira didn't laugh. The Zenthari have been sending secret messages. They're planning something. Jin walked over. Planning what? Mira pointed at the screen. Words and alien symbols flashed by. I can't read all of it, but I see human, blame, and attack. Jin's stomach tightened. They're going to blame humans for something. Mira nodded. I think so. And soon. Just then, the door slid open. A small furry alien with big ears stood there. It looked left and right, then whispered, You are in danger. Follow me. Jin and Mira exchanged glances. Who are you? Jin asked. My name is Rin. I work in communications. I saw the messages too. The Zenthari are setting a trap tonight. Mira grabbed her bag. We have to warn someone. Rin shook his head. No one will believe just words. You need proof. Jin cracked his knuckles. Then let's get some. Rin led them through hidden hallways in the building. The corridors were dark and narrow, used only by service workers. We're going to the data room, Rin whispered. All messages pass through there. They turned a corner and froze. Two Zenthari guards stood in front of a door. Their blue skin looked almost black in the dim light. Mira gulped. Now what? Jin thought fast. Then he grinned. I'll distract them. You two get inside. Before Mira could argue, Jin stepped out and walked right up to the guards. Hey, he said loudly. You guys lost. The bathroom's the other way. The guards turned, hissing. Human, you are not allowed here. Jin crossed his arms. Yeah, well, I go where I want. One guard reached for his weapon. Jin didn't wait. He punched the alien square in the face. The guard stumbled back, shocked. The other guard lunged. Jin ducked, grabbing the alien's arm and flipping him over his shoulder. The guard crashed to the floor. The first guard came at Jin again, swinging. Jin blocked, but the alien was strong. A fist clipped his jaw, making his vision blur for a second. Then, ****. The guard suddenly collapsed. Behind him stood Mira, holding a metal pipe. Sorry, she said. I panicked. The second guard was getting up. Rin jumped on his back, covering the alien's eyes with tiny hands. Quick, the door. Jin rushed forward and shoved the guard into the wall. The alien slumped down, unconscious. Mira was already at the data room door, working the controls. Got it. The door slid open. Inside, glowing screens covered the walls. Rin hopped onto a chair and started tapping. Here. Look. A message appeared. Asterisk Operation Shadow Strike begins tonight. Frame the humans, make it look like they're doing. Asterisk. Mira gasped. They're going to attack the summit and blame us. Jin's fists clenched. We have to stop them. Just then, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Rin's ears drooped. Oh no. They know we're here. Footsteps pounded in the hallway. Many footsteps. Jin looked around. Is there another way out? Rin pointed to a vent. Small spaces only. Mira paled. I hate small spaces. Jin pushed her toward the vent. Now's a bad time to mention that. They scrambled inside just as the door burst open. The vent was tight and dark, but they crawled as fast as they could. Behind them, angry Zenthuri voices echoed. Jin gritted his teeth. They had the proof. Now they just had to survive long enough to show someone. The air vent was hot and cramped. Jin crawled on his elbows, his shoulders scraping against the metal walls. Behind him, Mira breathed fast, trying not to panic in the tight space. Little Rin moved quickest, his small body perfect for escaping through vents. Left here, Rin whispered. They turned, moving deeper into the summit building. The alarms still blared, but the sounds grew fainter. Finally, Rin stopped at a vent cover. This goes to the main hall. We can get help there. Jin kicked the vent cover open. They dropped down into a quiet hallway, much nicer than the service tunnels. The walls were smooth, the floor clean. Mira brushed dust off her clothes. Now what? We can't just walk around. The Zenthuri will be looking for us. Jin thought for a second. Then he grinned. We need to talk to someone powerful, someone who will actually listen. Rin's ears twitched. Korthak. Exactly. The Vruxel warlord had been the only one to respect humans so far. If anyone would believe them, it was him. Finding Korthak wasn't hard. His loud voice boomed from a meeting room down the hall. Jin peeked inside. Korthak stood at a table, arguing with several other aliens. Good. There were witnesses. Jin stepped into the room. Every head turned. The Zenthuri delegate hissed. That human is a criminal. Guards. Korthak slammed his fists on the table. Silence. He glared at Jin. Why do you interrupt? Jin didn't waste time. The Zenthuri are planning to attack this summit tonight and blame humans for it. The room erupted in shouts. Lies. The Zenthuri delegate spat. Mira stepped forward, holding up the data pad they'd taken. We have proof. Messages planning Operation Shadow Strike. Korthak snatched the pad, reading quickly. His face darkened. This is Zenthuri writing. The glowing Concord leader floated closer. This is a serious accusation. Jin crossed his arms. Check the security feeds. See who's sneaking around right now. Before anyone could move, the lights flickered. Then, boom. An explosion rocked the building. The Zenthuri delegate smiled. Too late. Chaos. Aliens ran in every direction as smoke filled the halls. Jin grabbed Mira and Rin, pulling them behind an overturned table just as another blast shook the walls. They're making it look like we did this. Mira coughed. Jin looked around. The Zenthuri delegate was gone. Korthak was shouting orders to his warriors. The Concord leader lay on the ground, injured. We need to stop them, Jin said. But how? Rin peeked over the table. The control room. Whoever controls communications can tell everyone the truth. Another explosion, closer this time. The ceiling cracked. Then let's go, Jin said. They ran through the smoke, following Rin's directions. The control room was guarded by 2 Zenthuri warriors. Jin didn't hesitate. He charged the first guard, tackling him to the ground. The second guard raised his weapon, but Mira threw a chair at his head. The alien stumbled, and Rin jumped on his back, biting his ear. Ow, get off, the guard yelled. Jin punched the first guard unconscious, then helped Rin with the second. Soon, both guards were down. Mira rushed to the controls. I can send a message to the whole building. Her fingers flew over the alien buttons. A screen lit up. Asterisk attention all delegates. This is not a human attack. The Zenthari are behind the explosions. Check their ships for weapons. Stop them before. Asterisk. A laser blast hit the console, cutting her off. In the doorway stood 3 Zenthari soldiers, weapons raised. Humans causing more trouble. One hissed. How predictable. Jin stepped in front of Mira and Rin. You guys got the message out. Enough of it, Mira whispered. Good. Jin cracked his knuckles. Then let's give them a real show. Jin stood between the Zenthari soldiers and his friends. The aliens' weapons glowed with dangerous energy. Last chance, human. One soldier hissed. Step aside. Jin smiled. No. The Zenthari fired. Jin dove to the left, rolling behind a console. Laser blasts burned the wall where he'd been standing. He peeked up, just in time to see Mira throw a heavy datapad at the closest soldier's head. Asterisk TGUNK asterisk. The alien staggered. Rin took the chance to leap onto another soldier's back, clawing at his eyes. Jin didn't waste time. He charged the 3rd soldier, tackling him to the ground. They rolled, punching and grabbing. The alien was strong, but Jin was angry. He headbutted the soldier, hard. The Zenthari went limp. Jin stood up, breathing hard. The other 2 soldiers were already down, thanks to Mira and Rin. Nice work, Jin said, wiping blood from his nose. Mira pointed to the broken console. The message got cut off, but I think some people heard it. Just then, the door burst open. Jin tensed, but it was Korthak and a group of Rexel warriors. The warlord looked around at the unconscious Zenthari, then at Jin. Ha! I knew you humans were fighters. Outside, the sounds of battle were fading. It seemed the truth was spreading. 1 hour later, the summit gathered again. What was left of it? Many delegates looked bruised or burned. The Zenthari leaders stood in chains, guarded by Concord soldiers. The glowing Concord leader spoke first. Thanks to these humans and their small friend, we have uncovered the plot. The Zenthari collective will face justice. Korthak crossed his massive arms. And what of the humans? They proved themselves today. The room went quiet. All eyes turned to Jin. The Concord leader nodded. Indeed, humans have shown courage and honor. We propose granting their species full membership in the Galactic Concord. Mira gasped. Rin jumped up and down excitedly. Jin just stood there, stunned. Full membership meant Earth would have a say in galactic affairs. No more being pushed around. The delegates voted. It was nearly unanimous. When the result was announced, Korthak clapped Jin on the back so hard he almost fell over. Now your people have a real voice, human. Jin grinned. Yeah, guess we do. Later, as they prepared to leave, Mira couldn't stop smiling. Can you believe it? Because of what you did, all humans will be treated as equals now. Jin looked out at the stars. Not because of me. Because of us. Rin tugged at Jin's pants. Does this mean I can visit Earth? Jin laughed. Sure, just don't expect me to be a good tour guide. As their ship took off, Jin leaned back in his seat. It had started with a bar fight. Now, because he'd been too stubborn to back down, everything had changed. Mira shook her head. You choked an alien and got invited to a peace summit. Then you saved the summit. That's kind of amazing. Jin closed his eyes, smiling. Just another day for a human. The stars stretched out before them, full of new possibilities.